What's up? What's up? What's up? Live recording the part 2 of module 2 for my SEO course called SEO Hacks with Andrew. Save that. Okay. Go live. Yeah, so it is Wednesday. Right? It is Wednesday, yeah. It is Wednesday. Having a good time. Keep this over here. Okay, so I'm going to start recording. Don't need this. Actually, I should probably check the sound. I did not check the sound. That's not good. Gotta check the sound, make sure that it's sounding all right. Let's see. Don't need this. Actually, I should probably check the sound. I did not. Okay, it's good. It's don't need this. Actually, I should probably check the sound. I did not check the sound. Don't need this. Actually, I should probably check the sound. I did not check the sound. Yeah. Checking, there it is. Okay, so I don't need the desktop audio on. Double check the live feed again. Okay, so all right, so I'm going to be recording Module 2, Part 2, which is a deeper dive into on-page SEO. I've done the intro video already. I've done Module 1, which is basically an introduction to SEO. And then now Module 2, which is on-page SEO. A deeper dive into on-page SEO right now. And technical SEO. I'm going to go over on-page SEO right now. I'm going to record Module 2, Part 2. I've made a small fortune doing search engine optimization. Our biggest niche for our digital marketing agency is the drug and alcohol rehab center niche. Those are our main clients. And people think that a lot of things happen to people that are successful or that they find a niche, based on luck. But this was coming for many years. From the first day I tried alcohol and marijuana as a kid, to trying meth and selling meth, and then going to jail at 22 years old, being forced to go to AA meetings, NA meetings, going to a halfway home, a recovery home, etc. All that stuff played a role in my career as a digital marketing specialist and owning a digital marketing agency that caters to drug and alcohol rehab centers in the United States. It was, I guess, connecting the dots backwards, as Steve Jobs would have said, or did say in his commencement speech, in his famous commencement speech. Connecting the dots backwards is a lot easier, but when I was going through it, I didn't know why everything was happening. I was just going through it, and finally things have come, to fruition because of, hard work, dedication, some luck. I do believe that there has been some luck, but I've made a really good living, and me and my business partner have created a digital marketing agency that is successful. So I'm creating a course to teach people that want to get into search engine optimization. And also, this course that I'm recording right now is kind of like a beginner course. It's allowed me to make a lot of money and buy properties here in Colombia, travel, do work from home. This is my home office, work from the coffee shop when I want to in the mornings, or all day if I wanted to, go to co-working space and work there, go to Mexico if I wanted to and work there, and I do because I like to surf there, etc. So I want to share that with people, and I'm going to be giving it away for free for anybody that's signed up to my newsletter. That's all you got to do to get it, is sign up to my newsletter. The link to the newsletter is below. These videos that I'm recording now are going to be edited and put up on my own e-learning platform on my website. Eventually, I will sell this course at over $500. The market will determine the price, but I'm going to start at $500 and go up. And then I'm going to start creating the advanced courses, because in this course, this beginner course for SEO is going to be mentioning tools that you can get for free. Everything that I'm doing, you can pretty much do for free using free tools online, downloading free tools, etc., or using tools that Google, has for people to use. But then if you're going to be serious about search engine optimization, whether it's a career, or let's say you have a website, or a business that has a website, or you have a blog and you're creating content and you're monetizing it, and you want to get serious about search engine optimization, you're going to have to use paid tools. So I'm going to create advanced courses using those paid tools. I pay for at least 5 to 7 tools on a either monthly or yearly basis to do what we do. I wouldn't be able to, work with multi-million-dollar companies that provide drug and alcohol rehab treatment, recovery treatment, mental health treatment, across the United States if I didn't have these tools. So I'll be going over that in an advanced course. So let's get started with recording this. If you've got questions, or you want to make a comment, feel free to do so. I'll check the comments or whatever later, and I'm very active on social media, so just want to check the stream one last time here, make sure that it is up and going. Yeah, so we're good. Okay, so I'm going to start recording. I got to press the record button here. Module 2, Part 2, On-Page SEO and Technical SEO. Welcome to SEO Hacks with Andrew. I'm Andrew Messia. This is Part 2 of Module 2, On-Page SEO and Technical SEO. Today I'm going to take a deeper dive into on-page and technical SEO. So let's get started. The first thing I want to go over is Google Analytics. If you haven't already, install Google Analytics on your website. Depending on your content management system, there will be different ways to install Google Analytics on your site. Regardless of how you get it on your site, you'll have to create an account. So go to Google Analytics if you haven't already. Just Google it and create your account. If you have a Gmail account, you can just sign in with your Gmail account. If you want to keep it separate from your personal Gmail account, then create a business-related Gmail account and create a Google Analytics account through that Gmail account. Google Analytics will give you a lot of insight, from organic search traffic to paid and social traffic. I handle multi-million-dollar websites, and I use Google Analytics every single day. Even when I'm not working on that day, I check Google Analytics because it gives you a lot of insight, from something as simple as, is my site down right now? How many people are on the website right now? Making sure that everything is working. As simple and rudimentary as that, to deeper information that we're going to get into here in a second. Google Analytics will give you a lot of insight, from organic search traffic to paid and social traffic. The first thing that you want to check on Google Analytics now that you have it installed, granted that if you just installed it right now, it's going to take a couple days to start seeing traction. But if you have a website and you already have Google Analytics on, and you already have Google Analytics installed, let's take a look at session duration. One of the main stats you'll want to track as you start getting visits to your website is the user's time spent on the page or on your site as a whole. You can find an average session duration under the audience overview in Google Analytics. You can find an average session duration under audience and overview in Google Analytics. You can dive deeper by going to audience, behavior, and engagement. Let me share my screen and show you what I'm talking about here. So here I'm in my Google Analytics dashboard for my blog, MedellinBuzz.com. And if I want to take a look at my session duration, you could see it, an overview over the last 7 days at 35 seconds here. This is your main overview. But what I like to look at is going to audience here and going over to the overview section. And by default, your date ranges are for the last 7 days. So let me just go to the last 30 days. So as you can see, you have a lot of stats here. You know, how many users, how many new users, how many sessions, number of sessions per user, page views, page and sessions ratio, and the average session duration, which is 56 seconds. 56 seconds isn't bad for some websites. Since this is a blog website, 56 seconds is actually not good. It has to be higher. This is a blog that I have not updated in years, but it still gets traffic. I still monetize it. I kind of just let it run itself. And that's why it's at 56 seconds. There's no new content. There's not a lot of content on there, so people aren't reading a lot of it. But if you have a blog, you should be aiming for about 2 minutes average duration. You can dive a little deeper by going to the behavior section here. As you scroll down here, you see behavior, and you could take a look at overview. It also has the session duration, average time on page, 1 minute and 56 seconds. And you can actually go into here Site content, all pages. If you wanted to take a look at a certain page's actual duration, you can take a diver deep by taking a look at all of your site content. This is only showing 10, but you can show up to, all of your pages, or if you have a bigger site than this, and you should definitely be taking the advanced course. But if you have a small site, you can see a quick overview. And you could see that my dating Medellin women blog post, people spend 7 minutes on that. My, starting a business or business comprehension is 7 minutes. My nightlife in Medellin is 3 minutes and 52 seconds. So as you can see, the average is 1 minute and 57 seconds, which is actually good. Like I said, it should be 2 minutes. I was looking at a shorter date range when I first saw it, I think. But anyway, 1 minute and 57 seconds is pretty good for a blog, as you can see. So if you have content, good content, people are going to read it all. The more time spent on your page, the better. The target session duration will vary depending on your industry, but you should be shooting for 1 to 2 minutes, as you see here. This is why I'm able to monetize this page, because I've created engaging content that people read for several minutes, and I have calls to action on that content or links to affiliate services or products that I gain a commission on. Number 2, we want to take a look at bounce rate. The bounce rate can be found under audience, acquisition, or behavior, and then overview. Google Analytics makes it very visible because bounce rate is very important for search engine optimization. Bounce rate is the percentage of people that get to one of your pages and leave without navigating to another page. So they get to a page, let's say they find you through a Google search, they get to your page, they get the information, or they didn't find the information they were looking for, and they just bounce off your page without navigating to any other page within your website. That's what the bounce rate calculates. So as you can imagine, bounce rate is very important. In a perfect world, you'd want your visitors to land on one of your pages, love the content, and click to another page to get more information, or to get your contact information on your contact page, or read another article because they loved your article that they landed on and there's a related article, so they wanted to go read that one. That would be perfect, but that doesn't happen all of the time. Here are some stats from a study done by Content Square. The average bounce rate benchmark by industry is, in the apparel industry, is 44%. Automotive is 45%. B2B is 75%. So that's a high bounce rate. Beauty products, beauty services is 48% bounce rate. Consumer electronics is 44% bounce rate. Financial services, 47% bounce rate. Travel is 43% bounce rate. And all of the industries that they calculated together, the average bounce rate is 47. So let's take a look at bounce rate real quick as I share my screen here. So like I said, in order to see the bounce rate, you can go to audience, overview, and as you can see here, the bounce rate is 67.8%. And my blog is a personal blog. I have a lot of personal information on there, or experiences, I should say, that I've blogged about. And like I said, I haven't updated this website. I created this blog just as a passion project, just to write, and I use it almost as journaling, but I haven't updated it in a couple years. I just recently updated it for the first time, but before then I hadn't updated it for a couple years because I was busy working, and also I got burnt out from writing on there. So That's no excuse. The bounce rate is super high, and that's because there is no content leading to other content, or there are no clear calls to action. The only calls to action that I really have on there are to affiliate links so that I could get paid. And that kind of works, but if I wanted to reduce this bounce rate so that people engage with my page more, then I would be interlinking similar content with other content on my blog. I hope that makes sense. It's very simple concept. If you have a blog post about dating and you have a blog post about nightlife, then there should be a very clear call to action somewhere within my dating blog post, sending people to the my nightlife blog post, because they're kind of related, and vice versa. And that would help reduce the bounce rate. If people reading the dating blog post say, oh, this is a great one, they're spending more than 7 minutes, we just saw that, reading that, then they must like the topic, must like the writing and the information, because they're spending more than 7 minutes reading that article. Then there's a high probability that they would click on a link or a very special call to action, maybe a picture or a bright call to action saying, hey, I wrote another blog post about my experience with the nightlife here in Medellin. Click here to read that. I haven't done that on there. I'm going to test it out and see if it works and see if it will reduce the bounce rate. I'm assuming that it will, and I have to go through every single page and do that as well because this blog hasn't been updated. But I'll use it as an experiment to be able to report back on in this course. So bounce rate can be found through your audience and overview. And like I said, you can actually get a deeper dive into your bounce rates on your websites by going to behavior, site content, all pages again. And each page has its own bounce rate, which is right here. For example, the home page has a very low bounce rate because people are finding the blog or the home page of the blog, MedellinBuzz.com, and then probably clicking on one of the blog posts. The dating in Medellin, like I said, has a very high bounce rate because it's a very long post with no calls to action to other content that people can read that is similar. So that's one of the experiments I'm going to do in this course to show you that bounce rate can be reduced and it'll help my overall SEO on this website. If you are in a website that I didn't mention or that the study that I just mentioned didn't mention, then all you got to do is Google your industry or your service or your product and then bounce rate. And I'm sure somewhere you'll find the industry average bounce rate for that type of industry. Another way to reduce bounce rate is by checking your exit pages. The exit pages on Google Analytics are those pages that people leave your site from. If you have a blog post with many people exiting it, try adding links with similar content. If you have a blog post, like I mentioned, for example, my Medellin dating app one, or let me share my screen again. Here, for example, you go to behavior, site content, and exit pages here. So my number one exit page is my home page. My number two exit page in the last month or 30 days, 377 people exited this page because they're probably landing on it, reading it, and then leaving right away or after they read it and not navigating the site. So again, a way to reduce bounce rate is by adding calls to action to other content within my website that is similar or that can appeal to this demographic, to the people reading this, which I'm assuming are single men looking to find information about dating women in Colombia or Medellin. And if I don't have content around that, then I have to create it because I want to reduce my bounce rate. I want to keep engaging my readers, and I want them to click on my affiliate links so that I can make more money. So you want to put yourself in your visitor's shoes. Why are they exiting? What else would they like to read about, etc.? Some of your pages will have high bounce rates no matter what. For example, a thank you page after they made a purchase. Maybe you sell eco-friendly hiking boots made from recycled material. This is just something I just made up. I don't know if that actually exists. And maybe you rank for the keyword Viking hiking boots or vegan hiking boots because they're eco-friendly and made of recycled material and non-animal byproducts. And you rank for that keyword, vegan hiking boots or Viking hiking boots or whatever it is. The user clicks on the page, goes to your product page, makes the order. They don't navigate to another page. You don't really want them to navigate to another page because that's the intent of that page, is to sell those boots. You just want them to purchase, and that's it. So that page may have a high bounce rate, and that could be okay. There's no need to over-optimize. Sometimes I get clients that really focus on bounce rate because they read in an article that bounce rate's super important for SEO. But at the end of the day, making money is the most important metric. Are you getting sales from that page? Are people contacting you from that page? If it's your contact form, yeah, your contact form might be getting 1,000 visitors a month and they're all bouncing away, but how many form submissions did you get? Did you get 300 form submissions out of 1,000 visits? That's a pretty damn good number. We don't need to optimize that for bounce rate. We were doing just fine. So there are times where the bounce rate or a high bounce rate is justified. So there are times where a high bounce rate is justified. Another reason people may be bouncing off your page is your page speed. If your page is loading slowly, then people are going to leave. It's bad user experience. What's a good page loading speed? Well, Google answered that once. They said 2 seconds is the threshold for e-commerce websites acceptability. At Google, we aim for under half a second. So they kind of indirectly answered that because they were talking about e-commerce, but that's kind of the industry standard in SEO is 2 seconds and under for loading speed. To find out how a particular page is doing on your website, you can use Google's free Page Speed Insight tool. Just Google it, Page Speed Insight tool, and it'll be the first search result. You click on it and you insert the link of the page that you want to analyze. This doesn't analyze your entire website if you just put the home page. It'll just, if you just put the home page URL or your root domain, it's just going to analyze how fast your home page is loading. You may have a very fast home page, but maybe you have blog posts that have a lot of videos, images, content, dynamic content, and those may be slowing your entire site's site speed. So you want to make sure to, what I would do if I were you, I would figure out, okay, through Google Analytics, these are the pages that people are landing on the most right now, or these are the popular ones. Let's check how fast they're loading. You could start with the home page, but then and then continue with the other pages that are performing well on your website to see if you're missing anything. The great thing about the Google Page Speed Insight tool is that it will also tell you what you can do to fix your page speed. If it's slow, it'll give you a rating, like a qualification, a number, and then it'll tell you on desktop, it's loading this fast. And then there's another tab that shows you your mobile page speed as well. So you want to check both, desktop and mobile. Mobile is probably the most important. across the internet, most people use phones, tablets, more than they do a desktop computer like a laptop or an actual PC. So you want to check both, but most importantly, focus on the mobile page speed, making sure that the page loads fast on mobile devices. You can use other free tools other than the Google Page Speed Insight tool for more insight, such as gtmetrics.com. You go to gtmetrics.com and you insert your URL, and it'll tell you, similarly to Google Insight, similarly to the Google Page Speed Insight tool, what's wrong with your website and how you can fix it. Here's an advanced tip. If you pay for a pro tool such as ahrefs.com or semrush.com, you can do a complete site audit. The site audit tool will go through every page on your website and tell you which ones are loading slowly and what you can do to fix them. But that's why those tools have a monthly cost or an annual cost, because they do give you a lot of information. And if you're a beginner, you may not need all of that information, so that it might not justify you paying a monthly fee or a yearly fee for one of those tools. So just using these free tools like the GT Metrics tool or the Google Page Speed Insight tool is good enough. The number one reason why a page will load slowly, though, is image size. You may have pages that have many images, and maybe those images were loaded at a very large file size, and that slows down a page's load speed. And one of those free tools can tell you that, or will tell you that if that is the case. And if that is the case, you'll want to compress your images to reduce the file size without compromising the quality. There are free image compression tools on the internet. All you have to do is Google image compression, and you will find a tool that will do it for you, compress it, and then you can download the smaller file, and then that's the file that you upload onto your website. If you do that, make sure to delete the old giant picture off of your server, because it's just taking up server space and you're not using it on your website. So here are some general bounce rate benchmarks. According to GoRocketFuel.com, as a rule of thumb, a bounce rate in the range of 26 to 40% is excellent. 41 to 55% is roughly average. 56 to 70% is higher than average, but may not be cause for alarm depending on the website. Anything over 70% is disappointing for everything outside of blogs, news, events, etc. The more time your website has on the web, the more content you create. Sorry, I'll start that over. Remember, the more time your website has on the internet, the more content you create, and the more experience you acquire, your bounce rate should decrease, because you're optimizing and you're taking courses like this to learn how to optimize to decrease your bounce rate. Oh, I forgot to turn off my phone. There we go. To lower your bounce rate. Okay. The more time your website has on the web. Okay, I already went over that. So, number 3, search engine result page click-through rate, or the CTR. The search engine results page click-through rate is the proportion of people that click on your link when it comes up for a given keyword. To improve your click-through rate, let's review what the search engine result page shows. So let me go over this and show you the live scene here. These are my notes. Okay, so I'll go to Google So number 3 for on-page SEO is checking your click-through rate. So what is click-through rate? Let me go over, for example, I don't know, dog food. Whoops, G food. Dog food. So this is what Google shows. For example, this is the first organic search result right here. Best dry food 2022, dog food advisor. You have the URL, you have the title tag, and then you have the meta description tag right here. And then you have some site links that Google deems important, so it included it there. You don't have control of when or what Google puts here to a certain extent. You can gain more probability of getting site links in your snippet, in your search results snippet here. But the most important thing and the most important things and the things that you have the most control over are the title tag and the meta description showing here. Okay, so for this keyword, so I'll go back to here. So if the keyword dog food is searched for, or the best dog food is searched for, and more people are clicking on the second organic search result instead of the first, because the second result has a better title or more enticing title, that's telling Google that they should bump up that second result to number 1 and put number 1 down below. Maybe number 3 starts to outperform number 1 also, so number 1 starts to get bumped down because maybe they didn't optimize their title well enough. Or maybe their competition, number 2, 3, 4, and 5, started to optimize their title tag, and more people are clicking on those, so they're losing out and losing position. So you want to focus on optimizing your title tag for click-through rate. You want people to click through to your website when they find you on Google. We went over that in the last lesson. So if you need a refresher, go ahead and pause the video and go back to that lesson, which is part 1 of module 2, and get a refresher. So let's talk about optimizing your meta description. Since in the last lesson we talked about optimizing your title tag and what that entails, let's talk about optimizing your meta description. Number 1, first of all, every page on your website should have a meta description. Even if you don't see it ranking for any keywords, maybe it's a small page, there should be some sort of description. Number 2, if you're using WordPress, use a plugin to create your title tag and description easily. One of the most popular plugins is the Yoast SEO for WordPress plugin. Number 3, do not copy paste meta descriptions. I see this all of the time with clients where they have similar pages, so they just go and copy paste all of the descriptions because someone said that you need descriptions on all of your pages, but they weren't clear and said that you need unique descriptions on every single page. If you just copy and paste it, that actually may hurt you in the long run for search engine optimization. So every page should have a unique description or meta description. Number 4, write between 135 to 160 characters. I keep it between 150 and 160 characters. That's the length of the meta description. The length of the meta description displays in search results based on the user's screen size or the device type and other technical factors. So there is no golden rule for how long your meta description should be. but to fit within most common range, the length should be no longer than 160 characters. You can use a free tool like the webyurt.com tool that measures and counts your characters, or if you're using a plugin such as the Yoast plugin on WordPress, as you're typing, it'll tell you how long your meta description is and will let you know if it's too long. Number 5, include the page's target keyword and or semantic keywords. We went over semantic keywords in the last lesson in your meta description. That's the whole point of search engine optimization, is optimizing for keywords. So make sure, like I mentioned in the previous lesson, to include your keyword in the title, but also in the meta description. Number 6, don't stuff keywords in descriptions. I see this a lot with clients as well, where a search engine optimization company or someone on their staff was told that they need descriptions and they need keywords in the descriptions, and then they started stuffing keywords in the description to the point where the description doesn't even make sense or it reads really badly. There's no need to do that. Write naturally. If you can only include one keyword or one semantic keyword, doesn't even have to be the exact phrase or keyword phrase. It can be a variation of it, but it sounds natural. That's good. That's great. And if you don't see any traction after a month, after 2 months, you want to start testing different descriptions. I do that all the time. And the best way to do that is by checking what your competitors have written, or the top competitors, the people that are ranking number 1, 2, and 3 for your keyword. See what they're writing in their description and what you're missing in yours. Number 7, include value propositions. Give the user a reason to click on your link by explaining the benefits they will receive, highlight the value they will get, and things they will learn, the problems it will solve. Number 8, maintain the active voice. Passive language, when the subject of the sentence is being acted upon, is boring and drab. Active language, when the subject of the sentence is taking action, is interesting and easy to visualize and understand for the reader. Therefore, an important content writing tip is maintaining an active voice as much as possible. Write meta descriptions in the active voice to help engage readers and hold their attention. You'll want to use the Hemingway app. I mentioned the Hemingway app in the last lesson. You'll want to run your copy through the Hemingway apps for readability purposes, and it'll also tell you whether you're using active or passive voice in your copy. Number 9, include a call to action. It amazes me how many times I audit a website, a multi-million-dollar website, and they wonder why they're not getting a lot of visits for a certain page, even though it ranks semi-well, maybe at the bottom of the first page, why people aren't clicking through. And there is no call to action in the meta description that appears when it appears on Google. And I always tell them, people aren't clicking there because you're not telling them to click there. So include a call to action in the meta description. Treat your meta description as a piece of your customer's journey and use language that guides users to take the next step. Include a call to action that encourages them to act, even if it's something simple as learn more here or read more here. Click here to learn more. Click here to find out. This is a comprehensive guide on umbrellas. Click here to learn more. Click here to learn everything you need to know about umbrellas. So you want those call to action words on your meta description as well. And finally, number 10, use good clickbait. Clickbait is a buzzword, and sometimes the word clickbait has a negative connotation, but clickbait is essential for marketing. But use good clickbait. Don't try to trick your audience while you should use your meta tag or your meta description to pull readers to read your copy or to go to your web page, you must always do it in an ethical way. Never use misleading language, outrageous claims, or unrelated copy to promote your content or try to attract attention or clicks to your website using incorrect statements or leading readers to your page, and then they become disappointed because they didn't get the information that they thought they were going to get. It'll push those readers away and will negatively impact your SEO rankings. Let's look at a description. Let's look at an example of a good description from one of our clients. So if I type in, for example, the keyword heroin images before and after, we see the image pack here, which is crazy. And then we have our client here. Five real heroin before and after pictures. Remember in the last lesson, I told you that numbers perform really well when you put a number in a title. So we did that and we tested that here. 5 real heroin before and after pictures. Effects on the body. And then here's the description. This page discusses how your body changes with heroin use and its effect on your body with real before and after face pictures of addicts. There's no call to action here because the actual keyword is a call to action. People want to see images. So they click on, we get our click-through rate for this page is very high. It's amazing because it's very visual. It's a visual cue, right? You're using the word images, photos, pictures, etc. So those words are actual calls to action. And we're telling them that if they click here, they're going to see real pictures. And then when they do, they get that and they get a ton of information. So this page is not only a blog post that gains a lot of traffic for our client, but it also gets a lot of click-throughs. And on top of that, it gets a lot of conversions, whether it's phone calls, inquiries, form submissions, etc. Here's a pro tip. Let me go, sorry, I'm going to go back here. So here's a pro tip. Don't focus on broad terms. Focus on long tail keywords. Don't focus on short keywords. For example, if we try to rank a page for the keyword drug rehab, it'll be very difficult to rank for that keyword on the first page of Google. There's a ton of competition, and my client's website may not be as old as some of these very authoritative sites, such as American Addiction Centers, the Recovery Center, etc. So what we do is we focus on longer keywords, such as drug rehab in, and then the city name, or how to pay for drug rehab with your insurance. That's a long keyword, but we found that that is a searched term, and it's easier to rank for than the actual keyword drug rehab. In the long run, over the course of 5 years, we do want to rank for the keyword drug rehab, but we've measured that based on their budget, based on the competition, keyword analysis, keyword research, that it takes between 3 to 5 years to be able to even compete for the first positions of the keyword drug rehab. According to Yoast.com, focusing on long-tail keywords is a great SEO tactic. Long-tail keywords are keywords or key phrases that are more specific and usually longer than more commonly used keywords. Long-tail keywords get less search traffic, but will usually have a higher conversion value as they are more specific. For example, the keyword drug rehab. We know that that's super hard to rank for. We're going to optimize the site for that keyword, but we're going to add more words to that keyword in order to make it easier and get quicker wins. For example, like drug rehab in Philadelphia. since our client is near Philadelphia and we rank now number 1 for that keyword, or number 2 or number 3, we're getting phone calls, we're getting form submissions, they're getting admits, and it's a big win for them and it's a big win for us, even though they don't rank for the keyword drug rehab nationally. If they did, they probably wouldn't even have the bandwidth to answer all of those phone calls to begin with. So it's something that's slow and grow. You can check your site's click-through rate on Google Search Console under search results. Google Search Console is different than Google Analytics. All you have to do is Google the words Google Search Console, click on the first search result, and enter using your Google account, and to be able to see your website's dashboard. You're going to want to work to improve your click-through rate by testing out different title tags and descriptions. You want to make sure that it's mobile friendly. A big issue with click-through rate is sometimes a website is not mobile friendly, so that when someone searches for a certain keyword and they click on your page, but they're on their mobile phone or on a tablet, the website's just not user-friendly on mobile. Make sure your website is easy to use on any mobile device. Include a responsive design. Most content management systems like WordPress have responsive designs or responsive templates. You want to make sure by testing your site on Google's mobile-friendly test tool. Again, it's a free tool. You can Google it. Google's mobile-friendly test tool. And it'll tell you how friendly your website is on mobile devices. Consider using an AMP or AMP framework, a framework created by Google that loads content faster. You may want to consider this for your blog content, because usually blog content loads slower because it has a lot of dynamic content on it, etc. You may want to use the AMP framework for your blog content. Site structure. If you have many pages on your site and you're interlinking them correctly, Google search results will start featuring many site links when you come up in search results. Just like the dog food result that I showed you, you notice that at the bottom of their search engine result, they had some site links. And that is caused by them interlinking pages very well on their main page, their home page, and throughout their website. So you want to make sure that you're interlinking every single page when necessary. Obviously, if you have some private pages or only pages for only customers, you don't want to interlink them with your public pages. That's completely fine. But for the most part, you want to start interlinking all of your pages with related pages on your website. And you start by your main menu. Your home page has a main menu, and that's where the interlinking tree or your site structure starts. Here's a real example. Let me go here. I'll show you another example of site links. For example, springboard recovery. As you can see, this is a branded keyword. It's their brand name. And you have the search engine result here, the title, the description, and then you have page links. And these are the most important links that Google wants to show. We don't tell Google to show this. Google just does it automatically. But it's a result of interlinking on the website. So as you're doing keyword research and strategizing your content, make sure to map out your website. Let me show you a very rudimentary map of a website on a new client that we have here. what that looks like. It could be as simple as this when you start out. It'll start getting more complicated as you do more keyword research and you do more content mapping and content strategy. But for example, this was like a preliminary content strategy. As you can see, here's the content. We map out homepage, about us, our staff, services, and what goes below services. These are all the links that are going to go there. Then we have local services, what goes under every local services page. Verify insurance, your blog, the topics for the blog, and then contact us. It could be as easy as this on a Word document or a Google document, but you want to start mapping out your content. Here's a pro tip. Spy on your competition by checking out their sitemap. If you don't know where to start with your content mapping, take a look at what your competition has done. All you need to do is go to Google and type in your competition's URL. For example, abc.com space and then the word sitemap all together, sitemap together. If they have a sitemap that is public, which most websites do because it's good for SEO to have a sitemap, and we'll get into that in another module, you'll be able to see their sitemap. Let me show you an example. I don't know. I'm just going to go to, for example, I don't know. This is a huge site. This is a multi-million-dollar website. Sitemap. Here's the American Addiction Centers, a multi-million-dollar company. This is their sitemap right here. This is their XML sitemap. They even have a staff sitemap, contributor sitemap. Oh, and I think I have to have my VPN on. Yeah, because it won't let me see it. Okay. But let's go into another example. I'll just type in, let's go to dog, best dog food. Let's look at, let's say like, okay, Forbes, that they probably have it hidden. Your competition's probably smaller. I don't know. Let's take a look at these guys, see if they have a sitemap. They may have a sitemap because this is their URL structure, which is horrible. Again, remember when we went over URL structure? This is not a good URL structure right here with all those numbers. I don't know what are those numbers for. You don't want the / when you look for it. No /. You could use the URL space and then sitemap. Okay, that's their sitemap there. This is a robot.txt. Okay, that doesn't help me. Yeah, some of these bigger pages won't have, or sometimes their sitemap is even at the bottom. Yeah, so if you have these obviously are very big pages, so, or big companies, so they're going to hide their sitemap because they don't want their competition to do what I'm doing. But if you have a smaller business or you have a small blog, for example, I don't know. Oh, let me go, for example, peacevalleyrecovery.com. Sitemap. You'll see something like this. And this is their website structure. So you can see that. And there's nothing wrong. I always think it's funny when people hide their sitemap because I can crawl your entire website pretty quickly using the tools that I have if I really want to take a look at it. So that's a pro tool. Number one is check out their sitemap. And if they, for some reason, they don't have a sitemap or you want to get an even more in-depth view of their entire site, I always use Screaming Frog SEO Spider. It crawls up to 500 pages for free. if you download this. It's a crawler. You could look at their demo, but it'll crawl a website's entire site, every single page, and give you insights on every single page, which is awesome. But if you pay for it, you'll get more than 500 pages. If you're a small business and your competitions have less, and your competitors have less than 500 internal pages, you're okay with the free version. I've paid for Screaming Frog for probably way over 6 years now, since they've been in existence. So it's a very valuable tool because I'm able to crawl any website on the internet and get insight on their pages. So now it's your turn. Your homework is listed below in the action items. Make sure to do all of the tasks. We just went over some very important information about optimizing your website. We took a deeper dive into Google Analytics. Well, our first dive into Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Now it's your turn to start doing these action items. Do not go on to the next part 3 of module 2. Do not go on to the next video without at least starting these action items. You may have a large website where you can't do all of these action items before getting to the next lesson, but you can get started. You can start organizing yourself on spreadsheets. If you want to get into search engine optimization, you have to love data and you have to love analyzing the data. That's what search engine optimization is. It's a lot of data analysis, testing, experimenting, failure, and finally success. So make sure to do these tasks below. If you're watching this video on YouTube or on another platform that's not on my website, make sure to go to my website. It's in the description, where you'll see the complete lesson and it'll have the action tasks for you to do for this video. Thank you and have a great day. All right, so that's recorded. This will be edited, but yeah, this one actually took a while to do because it's a lot of information. Even though the video was short, it took me 58 minutes to record this. But it's a lot of research that I have to do in planning these. Some of you may know I was a teacher for many years, an English teacher, so lesson planning is something that you have to learn in order to teach, or else shit goes to hell. And yeah, so it's something that's necessary. It's important to lesson plan and do this. And I want to add as much value as possible to these with homework, downloadable spreadsheets, downloadable worksheets, etc., because I want there to be so much value in this product that when someone looks at it and even takes it for free, they will think that they are dumb for not either contacting me, making the next step to purchase, etc. It's, I guess, sales 101 is to provide as much value as possible so that people understand that I am an authority in this business. And not only that, that they'd be out of their mind to not purchase from me, or at least follow me or inquire, etc. So that's what I'm doing. It's taking a while, but once this course is done and put on my platform, on my website, it's going to kill it. I know it. It's something that I've been wanting to do for many years, and I couldn't because I was so busy building the digital marketing agency. That's another added value, is that I actually went through the grind of creating a digital marketing agency and running one, and I like doing it. I like doing SEO. A lot of people getting to doing courses or teaching things online or consulting work because they get tired of the work that they do. We have such a well-run agency that now I do have time to do all this. I even have time to play video games, which I'm going to do right now after this. But it doesn't take up my full day, and I'm not stressed. I don't lose sleep over things. It runs well. And if I were to lose everything tomorrow, I'd be able to turn around and build it up again in a short period of time because I've done it already. So that's another added value to these courses that I'm creating. And if you want to get the course for free, just sign up for the newsletter. The link is in the description of this live broadcast. Thank you guys for joining the live broadcast. I will be coming back on here soon because I'm going to play Fortnite